Thank you for auditing the Always Positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who made a meme yesterday. It's kind of based on a meme I've already published about November where everything was very busy. But this week is going to be particularly busy because of the sheer number of quality experimental dance pop music made by trans icons. So obviously Arca is releasing, I don't know, 7 albums in the next 10 minutes. And hopefully 100 gecs will also be releasing. So who is the first person on that list? The first person on this conveyor belt, it is Patricia Taxxon. And I'm going to be reviewing 2 of her albums, one of them in depth and one fairly quickly. Xanthan Gum, the one that just came out, and also The Flowers of Robert Mapplethorpe. Now, if you are a fan of the channel for a while, you'll know that I've covered a lot of Patricia Taxxon's videos. I even covered some of her videos using her dead name, which I always wonder, should I take those videos down? Should I retitle them? What should I do with those videos? Because I don't want them to exist as an insult, but at the same time, at the time, it wasn't a dead name, and they were, good faith analysis of her art. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me in the comments what you think I should do. But this is the 14th, actually maybe even more, the 14th video I've done about Patricia Taxxon's music, and probably the 17th and 18th albums. She produces an album just about every month, and I've been fascinated with her since the beginning of this channel. Viewers of this channel will know that I was inspired to start it primarily through my friendship with my friend Stella, and Patricia Taxxon was her favorite musician, and so there's kind of this link that I had in trying to understand, what is it about Patricia Taxxon that appeals to people, because right off the bat, I heard it and I thought, well, this is okay. It's a little video gamey. It's a little nerdy. I don't really know. So I've been really analyzing her music over the last couple of years since I've started doing this channel. I even offered and still continue to offer producing one of her albums on vinyl. I don't think she's ever produced anything on vinyl. I don't know, we'll see if she ever follows me up with it. So I just kind of want to check in. And it's funny because you'll see this is in Thunderground Thursday, which means that, the reason I do Thunderground Thursday is to sort of keep myself honest, because now that I have some success, I know that there are certain kinds of videos which will not get over 1,000 views, which is kind of my barrier. Like, that's where I want to get with every video. Videos about, about music in other languages and music made by lesser known artists. And so I know that this video is not going to do gangbusters because Patricia Taxxon is very underground. She's not even on Tidal. She's on Bandcamp if you want to hear her, and all over YouTube. A pretty interesting follow on Twitter as well. Pretty intense on Twitter. Is that, I want to not just find myself always trying to go to the things that I know will work. And in the old days, every time I'd do a Taxxon video, I would get more views than I normally got because I could count on at least 50 views. So that's the way the channel has grown. I used to be begging for 50 views, and now I am unhappy if I don't see that comma. Success is weird. Relative success is weird. So where is Patricia Taxxon? I checked in on her earlier this year. I don't review every single album of hers. Part of the issue, is I have to have something to say about every album. I don't have something to say about everything that she's done. But these 2 most recent releases are quite good. This Xanthan Gum album, not gum, Xanthan Gum, I guess it's a play on words on the food additive, is neat because she defines it as being bro step. And at times it does flirt with bro step music. That cool waka 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 sound, which I don't care what anybody says is awesome. I love bro step. I've never heard a bro step song I don't like. I've never heard a bro step song that I didn't want to keep listening to. I've never heard a bro step drop and said, I don't like that. I have always liked bro step. And you can at me or whatever you want to do, but I like it. So Patricia Taxxon is cool in this album because she's really mixing together sort of the metallic harshness of bro step and mixing that together with a sort of warmth and gentleness, right? So I was going to make the joke of calling it sis step, because if a woman makes bro step, is it then sister step? But then I realized sis is a homonym for like cisgender, which would be altogether too confusing. So we're just gonna stick with bro step. Because, yeah, anyways. So let's talk about this album. Let's go through it track by track. One of my favorite things about Patricia Taxxon is she's a punk. So because she's a punk, she doesn't care about copyright. So I can play her music. I could play you the whole album and just sit back and it would be totally okay. So I'll be able to play some examples. It opens up with the title song, Xanthan Gum. These bright synthesizer, very video gamey sounds. Cool like jungle drums underneath. Not so much bro step as it is jungle. It builds well with these kind of like hays. Just keep saying hey, and a cool heavy drop with these metallic sounds. Then EBC, which is one of my favorite songs I've ever heard from Patricia Taxxon. Great kind of underwater warm sounds with very metallic sounds, and just all the way through this album, this kind of like it's like a warm blanket that you accidentally like left a butter knife in. You know what I mean? So it's like, what is this little metal jagged thing? But also I'm warm. Let's listen to just a couple seconds of this with how rhythmically interesting. This is something that she did on the previous album as well, and she's been really working on using the computer to create these very aggressive, fascinating, relentless percussion lines. Also, wonderful cover, a really wonderful cover. I really appreciate the imagery of a moth, and I mean, obviously moth imagery features prominently in trans artists' work. And it's just a very nice image with the sort of furry legs and just very good. So let's listen to a little bit of EBC Gum off of Xanthan Gum. Here it's getting like a little bit more intense. It's like it gets more and more intense. It's like basically like a drum solo. It's like an electronic drum solo in the middle of the song. Corp 99 has a very cool stutter beat, like this beat that just seems to never catch up with kind of a Casio sounding church organ. More harsh metal against the warmth. Like dubstep beats come in over the stilted beats. Flowing, pushing, nice sweet automated synthesizers with some cutting sounds underneath. It has kind of a 4 on the floor, 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're just off. Mixed in with the sound of maybe scissors closing or knives sharpening. It gets louder, lots of nice dynamics all the way through. And then eventually there's just a straight club beat going underneath this slightly staggered, plodding, odd kind of march that this album often gets to and this song gets to, which creates some sort of semi-polyrhythm. Baseball is both my favorite sport and the name of the next song. Jackie Bradley Jr. just re-signed with the Red Sox. That means something to me, and no one else is watching this. Sorry, my phone keeps telling me that my printer is out of ink. That's why I keep having to touch my phone. My phone is my camera, by the way. One thing that hasn't changed about Professor Sky Record Review, all the way back in the sweaty days when I first reviewed Little Spoon, I just use my phone as my camera. I will not upgrade. So baseball has these nice descending synth lines joined by this like, I described it as a fartingly low bass, which sounds kind of gross. Very nice because this is the first song with lyrics and singing. I have sort of a love-hate relationship with her voice. At times I find it as being sort of too nerdy. At times I find it to be charmingly nerdy. But where I like it the most is where it's like the beginning of this song where it's, you still know it's Patricia Taxxon singing. No one else sings the way she sings, but it's altered and distorted by sort of auto-tune or vocoder sounds. Seems to be quoting A League of Their Own, no crying in baseball, more dubstep-ish stuff, and then the voice is repeated and it's more altered, and then by the end there's just the repeating of the same lines over and over again with these screaming synthesizers. Night Physician is the next song, gentle bells with an echo, and then a boots and cats drum beat underneath. Boots and cats and boots and cats. Then there's this cool, like, chunky assemblage of notes. Now, this is a very short song. It's only 2 minutes long. But at the 37-second mark, it just starts, like, doing all these crazy things and going in between. It's almost like she's changing the channel in between different musical ideas. Let's have a listen. really just great sound here. Very well produced. I think her production has gotten better over the years. You know, you can really jam out to this, right? Yeah, Night Physician. That's just a great song. That's one of, again, so this album has two of my favorite Patricia Taxxon songs. Okay, I get it. You are the printer is low on ink. Do you need to interrupt my video every single time? This is gonna keep going on. Damn you, HP. The final song is By the Book. Probably my least favorite song on the album because it's most vocal led. I don't know, it's a conversation about not being by the book. It's a little self-referential, but some cool, like, you know, wow, the most overtly dubstep, waka 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 sounds. And then it ends with this like trademark, like arpeggiated video game bloopy sounds and a nice extended melody, which is often something that she does quite well. And then it ends with this very high singing note that sounds like it's a very high note from a vocoder. So that's the album. Xanthan Gum. And I'm going to talk briefly about Flowers of Mapplethorpe, her previous album. Now, given the title, you'd think I would be sitting on here talking to you about Robert Mapplethorpe and giving you some kind of art history lesson, but I don't need to. She includes a good art history lesson on Robert Mapplethorpe as interstitial moments, as little skits throughout this album. Have a listen. Mapplethorpe's work is beautiful, it's sensual, it's important, and it's nice because I think she's doing something and she's pulling it off, where she's sort of implying that what she's saying about Robert Mapplethorpe is what she's saying about herself. You know, it reminds me a little bit of Aesop Rock's last album, where there's the quote from Lucy and Freud, and I like it when musical artists incorporate visual artists and try to imply they're doing the same thing. This album is a little emotionally raw for me. I guess it was recorded during the quarantine, so I'm not going to be... I had a little more trouble listening to it. I have this weird thing where because I've been covering her for so long, and because a lot of her music is so personal, when the stuff gets very personal, very raw, it's a little bit difficult for me. And I've never met her, I don't know her at all, but I do feel, because there's a great age difference, you know, I'm twice as old as her, I do feel, I don't know, so like the way I do with my students, like not fully paternal, you know what I mean? Like not like that, but like avuncular, maybe. Not even avuncular. Faux avuncular, right? Because when you don't know somebody, you don't know somebody, right? Not even like I know my students. But so this album is very raw, as you can hear from the first song, Rawr, which is kind of rapping. Maybe the best I've ever heard her rapping. I get it. You're low on ink. Lots of Taxxon-ish melody. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead in my notes. So there's like a singing chorus, and this whole song is very growlingly, angrily, fascinatingly, rawly sexual, which reminds me a lot of Arca and makes me excited for the new Arca album. The next song, Centipede, has some great textures, has that Taxxon-ish extended melody. She writes these melodies that last like 5 bars. The song La Lettre has some S&M themes and some bad French in the chorus. Could have hit me up. It's okay. The Railway is great work with auto-tune and great texture. I love the way she uses auto-tune. Our Father is one of those songs that's very hard to listen to, very personal. Father comes home when I'm hurt. It's emotional and raw. It's about absence and pain and loss. And it's very effective. I'd say, you know, there have been a couple of her albums that have had this level of emotional resonance. But this might be the most emotionally resonant work of her career, at least that I've heard. I've only heard probably half of her albums. I've heard like 20 of them. Lies, a very kind of COVID-ish song about feeling rotten and feeling inside, very Bo Burnham-ish perhaps. There's a sincerity to her voice here when she's singing about her despair that I really believe. Doggy is this weird sort of fever dream. I don't really know what it is. It doesn't seem like it's a song about a dog. It's sort of a song about a relationship ending and faithfulness. And I can't tell if it, because it mentions kink as well. So I don't know if this is like a furry breakup song, which wouldn't be wrong if it was, but I couldn't quite tell. But again, I haven't given Flowers of Mapplethorpe the amount of time and attention that I've given to Xanthan Gum. I Wish is a beautiful ending with this wandering melody being played by an organ and followed closely with her voice. It's a very nice, long, extended melody. So we're checking back in with Patricia Taxxon. Seems like things are going well. It seems like her progress as an artist is continuing. I am still certain that one day she will release an album that everybody will understand and will get. It will be the synthesis of all the great things that she's done in the past, and it will exist, and people will say, who knew that this Santa Cruzation had something to say and something so interesting? And I'll say, I did. Now, once again, I can't see myself on my camera because HP Office Jet Pro 8610 parentheses F6AFEE. The printer is low on ink. Okay. All right, until next time, where I'll hopefully be talking about Arca or 100 gecs. There's the camera.